Hello guys and welcome to my new space. Our roommates moved out and I took over the living room. It's now my home office slash studio slash reading room. Here on one side, all the digital stuff, and on one side, the traditional stuff. It's very bare for the moment, but I kinda like the lack of clutter. You can't imagine how thankful I am to have this place. So today I'm gonna talk about why and how I started with oil painting, a medium that I wished for a long time to try, but was too afraid and cost a leg when I wasn't in Germany. So now, with more place at my disposition, it seems like a great time to start. Yes, so let's start with the material first. I bought the Zen Art Essential palette because the price was reasonable and the reviews were good, and I really don't have anything to compare it with for now. A must-have is a paint thinner. I choose the Senile first just to try. It says that it is non-toxic. I have also liquid from Winsor & Newton. It is not that important for a beginner, but I wanted to try it because it's supposed to make the paint dry faster. Of course, the linseed oil to mix with the oil. This spray varnish was laying around for years. I think I wanted to use it for some acrylic painting that I never started. And some brushes. It says for acrylic, aquarelle, oil and gouache. And spoiler alert, they are too short and wasn't very handy for oil painting. And also some cheap brushes from Action and some cheap palette knife. And to try on some oil and acrylic paper. It has a really nice texture, almost like canvases. And of course some canvases in different sizes already primed. A wooden palette that was laying around the house too. And finally a glass palette. Also a paint scraper to clean paint and so on and so on. A little disclaimer. I bought the materials over a few months because together they would drill a big hole in my wallet. Why did I suddenly wanted to try a new medium? Initially this channel was for me to document my way to art again through comics. I said it over and over again that my job didn't satisfy my urge to create. One thing led into another, because writing a comic takes a long time. I decided first to draw into a sketchbook to get away from my screens, and I got sucked into it. I finished writing an intro from my comics, and instead of starting the character design and world building, I'm here right now. Drawing traditionally and trying new mediums scratches that itch to create, but not fully. Finally, I decided that we only live once and tried oil painting. And also blame the rise of AI. Let me explain. I work until now exclusively digitally, and it impressed me that graphic designers and creatives in general are getting replaced. I was feeling for my job and so on and so on. And I wanted to prove to myself that AI can't take my ability to create, and boy, I did create. In reality, I started to paint since January 11th and painted over 14 paintings until now. Ooh, I sit on hours and hours of footage and just need to work on my consistency to publish on YouTube. Yeah. The thing is, I didn't want to stop for nothing. I entered a state of tunnel vision of some sort, where I just wanted to paint and paint and paint. Luckily, I recorded on the side, but the editing part was too dry of a task for me at the time. Now, I really need to do that. And plus side of starting a new medium, it took me away from scrolling and the doomsday thinking. And in the meantime, the air bubble is kind of bursting right now, so yeah. So oil painting is really it for me, I think. Of course, I won't let go of comic creation, but for now, I'm following this drive. How to confront the intimidating feeling of starting a new thing. For me, the first thing that I feared was the price of the materials. In short, wasting money, particularly if I'm not sure that I will stick with this medium. And it took me a long time to pick this scent set. I chose it because it had the essential colors that I needed to mix the color that I want without buying all the colors that exist. And frankly, you don't need to buy all the colors either. Also, the reviews were good. But if you fear to not like oil painting, eBay is your friend. In fact, sometimes later, I wanted to just open my sketchbook and study some portraits, and I didn't want to waste my precious Zen set. So I bought used paint on eBay for cheap, and it took the fear of wasting pricey paint and gave me the confidence to mess up. By the way, it works for every hobby that you want to try. I advise either buying on eBay or just to start a set instead of an entire collection. It allows yourself to mess up without thinking of wasting your money. Secondly, there is no way around but learning to play with materials to chase the fear away. Familiarize with the texture of the paint, learning to mix with a palette knife, start with gradients, and so on. That's what I've started with in this video. Be sure to watch a beginner video that explains the how and why. I recommend this video from the Evolve Artist channel, precisely oil painting for beginners made easy. I will place a link somewhere or either in the description. It's very beginner friendly. He shows the very first step for oil painting from how to mix paint, hold the brush, values, and so on. This is the first and last video that I've watched seriously before starting. Personally, I avoid to watch too many artists and tutorials to avoid absorbing their style, so to speak. Finding references and things that I like to study and draw is more important than paint, of course. A little story time. The reference that I used is from Pinterest. That beautiful man is on every reference board inspiration that I have. Because of his interesting face, he makes for a good antagonist, or a morally grey hero, or just a mysterious character. Turns out, he is a famous musician. How I found out? I finally read the description on the pins. It read Tamino and I googled it. Turns out I made an accidental fan art of the singer. But is it a fan art though? Let's say that I painted a portrait of a famous person accidentally. If your photo is on Pinterest, big chance that your face is in someone else's sketchbook. So that's it. For your first try, opt for second-hand paint to get rid of the fear of wasting too much money. Then learn the basics and paint. Yes, there is no magical formula but practice. It turns out that I love oil painting, but I have to warn you, the drying time is testing my patience. I read that it can take weeks to 6 months for some. Mine, 3 weeks to 1 month on canvas. On paper, it is quicker. So that's it, guys. That's all I have for today. Stay tuned and see you next time. Et des bisous!